Okay, so glad to have you all here. Very happy. Can everyone see me? I can't see everyone, but never mind. Okay, so in case you didn't realize, if you didn't picture it, it never happened. So here goes. I gave a class. If anyone wonders if I gave one or not. Okay, so there's a famous story that I always talk. We're talking about prayer, okay? So there's a famous story that I always talk to people about, which is the story of Rabbi Grossman, who's a rabbi who lives in Israel, and he has about 6,000 orphans under his name. Can you imagine? It's a lot of kids. Besides for his own kids, he's got another 6,000 orphans that he looks after. He lives in the north of Israel, Migdal Emek. Has anyone heard of him? Rabbi Grossman? Heard of Rabbi Grossman? Okay, so you should definitely go on YouTube after, or don't, but go somewhere after this talk and then find Rabbi Grossman. He's amazing. You can find his videos on YouTube, and you can just see like what he's done and his story and how much love this one man has. It's incredible. So he was once at the Kotel at the Western Wall, and he's standing there late at night, and he's with a philanthropist. So you have a great rabbi and a very big philanthropist who's supporting the work that he's doing. And they see right by the Kotel, someone's crying, weeping, an older man who's weeping, crying. It's late at night, and Rabbi Grossman turns to the philanthropist and says, listen, it looks like someone's in pain. Would you help him? So the philanthropist says, of course I will. And the rabbi says, I'll go to him, I'll speak to him, and if he needs help, you'll help. So Rabbi Grossman goes up to him, stops him in his prayer, says, excuse me, you know who I am, Rabbi Grossman? Yeah, of course. Oh, shalom. And the man's with tears in his eyes, and he says to him, why are you crying? Are you okay? Is everything okay? I'm here. I can help you. I also have somebody here that's able to support anything you need. Whatever you need, just tell me. I can help you. And the man looks at him and says, I don't need anything. I'm totally fine. So the rabbi looks at him and says, why are you crying? He says, because I just married off my 10th child. And I came here to thank God from appreciation. I'm just in tears and overwhelmed with emotion. Tonight was the night that I just married my 10th child. I came here and said, I have built my family. I have done what I did, and I came to say thank you. So the power of this story is that most times we think of prayer and what's it about? Right? Whenever I say prayer, what's it about? Asking for something, right? So, you see something that happens, a shooting or something, and what does everyone say? Thoughts and prayers, right? And then some idiot comes along and says, well, thoughts and prayers won't help, stop the guns, or whatever, right? So then there's always that other comment. But at the end of the day, some people say thoughts and prayers, and what does everyone say? Thoughts and prayers. So, thoughts and prayers normally are to ask for something. That's what we think. But I want to prove to you that it's not always like that. And there's a reason why in Judaism it's not always like that. So here goes the big question before I even start. What is the big question about prayer and Judaism? Judaism and prayer doesn't seem to go. There's a big question with it. How can we pray, right? What's the big question? Eitan, do you know?
Just talk to God.
Well, I'll talk to him, but what's the point?
Do they work? Does it work?
Does it even work?
Does it work?
Wait a second. According to Judaism, what's God? Is he a person like me and you? No. So, what is he? En lo guf, en lo dmut haguf. He doesn't have a body, nor a figure of a body. No dude hanging out there, okay? So to all the people that say I don't believe in God, I say to them, I don't either in the one that you're thinking of. Right? So, because the idea of a Jewish God is something that has no body, nor a figure of a body. You know that that's the principle of Jewish faith? It's not a person. Wow, that's a whole new idea. So, what is the idea of the Jewish idea of Hashem? What does that mean? You're right, he's no limit. He's infinite. Right? The thing that came and created everything that exists and is involved in everything that exists has to be, and we're not going to go into the idea of how God exists. That's another whole discussion. But at the end of the day, the thing that created everything, allows everything to exist, if it's going to be a God, it's going to be an infinite one. It's not going to be some dude hanging out there on a cloud. It's going to be an infinite being that is involved in every atom, in every heartbeat, in every child that's born, in every cell, in every DNA. Okay, it's not going to be some dude. It's got to be an infinite being. Make sense? Okay, so if it's infinite, then we have a problem. If this being is infinite, we have a big problem with prayer. What's the problem?
Why do we have to ask?
Why ask? Right? According to Judaism, God is all-knowing. Right? He knows everything. Does he know everything? He created it all. He knows everything, every single second, according to Judaism, that everything is going on. He's all-powerful. Can he do everything? Right? Besides for carrying a stone that he can't make. Right? That's too big for him to carry, right? The question. Never mind. Right? But that he can do everything. He's all powerful. That's not a weakness. This shows a strength in him. He's all powerful and he's all loving, according to Judaism. He has infinite everything. In fact, there's no words to describe him because everything about him is infinite until it all comes one big mush called infinity. Okay? You can't say God is happy, God is sometimes sad. That's an attribute of a being that can't be by an infinity. So it's just one big mush called infinity. Okay, so if this infinite being, which can't be described, is all powerful and all knowing and all loving, so then what am I asking? Does he not know? Hey, can you help me with, do you not know that I need help with whatever it is I need? Hey, I want this date to go well right now. Please, Hashem. Right? Do you not know? Of course he knows that he knows everything. There's a big question. What's the point of even speaking? If I'm going to say something, he knows what I'm going to say anyway. He knows what I'm going to think, and he even knows before I think. What's the point of praying, according to Judaism? Okay, number one. I've got 4 questions. Why does he need it? Why does God need me to say thank you in any way? If he's all powerful, do I add by saying, hello, Hashem, Baruch Atah. Blessed are you, right? You created this food, so blessed are you. Thank you for this food. Does he need it? He's all powerful. He's all powerful. Doesn't need. You are not adding anything to an infinite being by saying thank you. So what am I adding? Another question. Second question. Third question is, if Hashem wants to give me because he's full of good and he's infinitely good, then why should I ask for something more than I already have? This is what I have. That's good enough because that is the best for me. Hashem is infinitely good. And if he really wanted me to have that new Ferrari, he'll give it to me. So why am I even asking for it? How dare me? It's a lack of my belief in the Jewish idea of God. Because according to Judaism, he's all infinitely loving. So when I say, hey, can you give me that Ferrari, which I don't yet have, I think God is not loving enough. And therefore I'm asking, how rude of me to say, give me that Ferrari. You can never ask for a Ferrari. Never ask to get married. Never ask for a child. Never, because he's infinite and he knows that you want it all. Right? So what am I even saying it for? You hear the question? So basically, Judaism has a problem. Here's the last one. Okay, let's say it's all true, we need it. How can we nudge him? Can you imagine going to a parent, right? Bless you. So that's exactly, I was about to say something about that, right? So can you imagine your child comes to you and she does a huge sneeze, right? And you're like, right? So no, but let's say your child comes up to you and you're like, what do you need? No, Daddy, I'm feeling really sick. Okay, here's a drink, here's a thing. What? Okay, should we go to the doctor? No, I don't want to go to the doctor yet. Okay, what else do you need? And I'm here to help. So I sit with them, I give them love, right? More shiras, but I also do it. Don't worry, just that she's much more loving than I am. So so I give my child love, I care. I hold him on I lift him up, try and give him good energy, whatever it is. And he's still sad. Okay, can I have a drink? Yes, of course. I give him a drink. Then 5 seconds later, can I have another drink? Of course. Takes one little sip. And then, you have a cup here. Can I have a drink? At a certain point, you're going to say, okay, look, you have 5 cups here. You don't need another one. You know? So, here's the question. If a parent sometimes says, separate, not about that, but let's say a child says, hey, Daddy, can I have candy? You say, no, we've got to eat dinner. No, but can I have candy? No, we've got to eat dinner. Can I have candy? At some point when the child keeps nudging, what does that show? What does that tell me? Okay, everyone says, okay, be the nice dad. Yeah, let's see you be the nice dad when you see him puke after you fed him so much chocolate, right? So, here, give me the candy. At a certain point, you got to say, why are you nudging me? So, doesn't it work the same between us and God? Like, hey, you're not giving it me, so why are you still asking? Stop nudging, right? Do you understand? Why 3 times a day? Hello? Say it once. Okay, why 3 times? Why do we do it more than once? In fact, we should do it once a year in Rosh Hashanah. And for many people, that's what they do. But for everyone else, right, including myself, it should be Rosh Hashanah and then Yom Kippur, maybe, and that's it. But every day, why does Judaism say nudge? Hello? What do you think the answer is? What do you think? There's one unifying answer.
Because it's for yourself.
Exactly. Right, I'm done. That's it. Right, so the answer is, yeah, soon. The answer is, it's not for you. That's the underlying theme of prayer. Get this in you. You have to get this, right? We don't pray for God. We pray for you. You're having a drink? Whatever you're saying, I don't know what it is, right? Baruch atah Hashem, right? We'll talk about that in a minute. But whatever you're saying, it's not for him. That's a whole new perspective. He doesn't need it. It doesn't help him. It doesn't change him. The water's going to exist either way. It's not, right? Either way, whether you drink it with a blessing or not, right? The water's going to exist. So, here goes the point. It's not for God. It's for you. That's the underlying theory, the underlying theme of all of Judaism. Not for him. He's infinite. He's all powerful. He's all loving. He can give you anything. It's for you. Okay, so there's a bunch of different perspectives, but they all go on the same line. Some say that the idea of prayer is, hey, we work so much in the physical world. We're eating, we're drinking, we're sleeping, we're working. How much time do we spend spiritually from our 24 hours? Anyone know?
Not enough.
Silence, right? So, not enough is good, right? It means you're doing something. So from the 24 hours of the time that we have, how much time do we really spend working on ourselves? Most of it is cooking, sleeping, looking for a job, trying to make a job work better, trying to make money, Facebook, I have to throw that in, I always do, Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat. Is anyone on Snapchat anymore? Does that still exist?
Yes.
Okay. Am I getting old or is that just okay? Who has Snapchat? Wow.
We used to have that.
Oh, you have it on your phone. That's a lot of battery usage. Okay, so you get what's going on? Most of our day, you hear what I'm saying? Most of our day is spent on our physical needs, and we forget our spiritual needs. So the Ramchal, Rav Moshe Chaim Luzzatto, one of the great Kabbalists, about 300 years ago, he says like this. He says, we need prayer because it reminds us that we can't only rely on our physical needs. That's not everything. That's not all the source of everything. You put the food in your mouth, but who knows if that food is 100% healthy all the time? There's always a risk, right? Don't overly rely on the physical. Prayer reminds you that you have to rely on God as well. Okay, that's his perspective. There's many different perspectives. One says it brings you the fear of Hashem. One says it makes you come, the kuzari. The Rabbi Yehuda Halevi says it makes you become more spiritual. It distances you from the physical sense of what you are. Another one, Rav Kook, who's a more of a modern writer, he says, meaning he wrote his books, his works only in this century, and he says the reason why prayer is done is because that the whole purpose of mankind in this world is to perfect ourselves, to elevate ourselves. We come into this world as children saying, give, 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 and we want to leave this world as people that are able to be humble, that are able to give, that are able to not just take, but to give to others, right? So we hope that we elevate ourselves by the time that's the purpose of mankind in this world, is to elevate themselves. And he says the key to elevating yourself is through prayer. Because every time you think of what you don't have, and every time you meditate and you work on it, you actually elevate yourself and you perfect yourself. So that's the language of Harav Kook and many others. One Rav Yosef Aldo, who's a Rishon, he says, an earlier writer, he says that when you pray, you now place yourself, you change as a person, you think differently. Now you put yourself in a new place. So the flow that was meant to come to you couldn't have gone there because you were in a different place. But now that you placed yourself in a completely different realm, you put yourself in another location, now the flow can come your way. Interesting. The flow is always coming. Mazal in Hebrew is the flow. The flow of love is always coming, but you just have to be in the right place to accept it. When you pray, you're able to move yourself to a new location to receive that blessing itself. They're all the same theme, right? It's not changing God. He's got his plan. You're going to have to change yourself. Okay. What's very interesting is, and this, I'm just going to say this last thing, and then we'll go into how to get your prayers working and how to get them answered. So the very last thing I want to mention before I actually get into the class, this is just the introduction, right? There's 3 types of prayer. So let me ask you, when I'm about to drink water and I say a blessing, what type of prayer is that? What do you think? Gratitude, thanking, praise, okay? So before I drink a water, it's either a hoda'ah, birkat hoda'ah, a thanks, or a birkat hashevach, which is a praise blessing. There's another type of blessing which is called birkat habakasha, a request, when you require or you're asking for something. Okay? So in the silent prayer, this is very important because the prayers that we have in Judaism always go in one of those 3 categories. Either it's praise, or it's asking for something, or it's thanking for something. With the silent prayer, the beginning of the silent prayer is talking about Ha'el HaGadol, HaGibor, HaNorah, right? The creator of the universe who created us, right? It's all praise. Then it goes into bakashot. Please give me that, give me mind, give me an ability to become better, right? So there's prayer which is called bakashot, which you're asking for something. And then it finishes off with hoda'ah, with thanking, okay? But you have to know that almost all of the Jewish prayers is not asking. There's a very small amount of the Jewish prayer which is asking. Most of it is either praise or thanks. Why? God doesn't need my praise and he doesn't need my thanks. What do I become when I'm more praising of the source of what I'm getting? What do I become more grateful.
God, it's the giving light and the receiving light. Receiving you give.
Okay, so I'm giving back. Besides for just taking, I'm actually giving. That's another explanation.
You humble yourself.
I humble myself. Right, so the whole idea is I am now recognizing what I'm getting. And I'm grateful for it. Okay, it's a whole new... And that's why, that's a whole new definition. That's why the whole prayer mostly is shevach, is mostly praise and thanks and very little of asking. Just to give you the perspective to understand that most of prayer is actually about growing within myself. Because when I'm more grateful, then I can start asking for things. And we're going to see that throughout our theory, our discussion. Okay, by the way, the only prayers that are, according to most opinions, the only prayer that we're required, obligated from the Torah is, does anyone know? Birkat Hamazon, after you eat a meal, right? So after you eat. By the way, the blessing before is not a requirement in the Torah. It's not Doraita. Only after. Birkat Hamazon is, how do I know? Because it says in the Torah, you should eat, you should be satisfied, and then you should make the blessing. Okay, so clearly, the Torah clearly tells me that the blessing after the meal is required. The blessing before is not. How come? Why is it so important, according to Judaism, that the blessing after is, why is the blessing after you eat more important than the blessing before? Go for it. Why is the blessing after harder than before?
Because you're not hungry anymore.
Okay, when I'm hungry, you better say thank you before you dive into that thing.
Well, you're like asking, give me food, but like you're ate the food, you're good.
I know why. Once you have it, though, you don't have the leverage anymore.
Okay, you don't need it anymore. What were you going to say?
Because you would never like eat at a
palace and just like bounce after you eat. You would say thank you a million times before you leave.
Very good. Before you leave, you say thank. And what? When you walk in, you just walk straight in and sit down on the table?
I think it's important to say thank you before as well, but if it's not like in the Torah,
it's not as important. So you're saying it's more important to leave with saying goodbye.
For the food that you just take, so it's after.
Okay. Before also you eat, you should say thank you. But according to we do. By the way, we do. Actually, the Talmud says if you don't bless before you eat, it's as if you're taking from God. It's like you're stealing. It's like okay, there's another whole discussion. But I wanna just tell you what Likutei Rashi, one of the commentaries, says. He says like this. He says the nisayon, the challenge of the wealthy, is much greater than the challenge of the poor. Before you eat, are you poor or wealthy? So to speak, you're poor. You're hungry. You need the food. You need God at that point. It's after, when you're all satiated, you're done. Yeah. Right? I'm good. Who needs God anyway? Right? And that's what happens. That's what happens in the world. We live in a time today, by the way, where we're wealthier and more comfortable than we've ever been. And what's happening with the God situation? Not quite strong right there, right? It's like, who needs him? Right? So, besides for the people that come here, right? So, and to all the other Jewish institutions. But I'm saying on a general, right? In general and as a whole, it's only when you need that you start thinking of spiritual needs as well. But when you're satiated, you don't think of it. It's when you get that wake-up call, then you start saying, okay, I need to speak to, where is God? Oh, we're getting somewhere. You're asking. That's good. Okay? So only after is it required, because that's the greatest challenge of mankind. The greatest challenge of mankind is being satiated, is being full. Because then you say, I don't need my parents, I don't need them, I don't need him, I don't need him. I can manage on my own. I have all the money. The greatest challenge of the wealthy is the spiritual challenge. That's the greatest challenge of mankind. We're told that as well when the Jews go into Israel. We said, hey, be careful when you go to Israel, because you're going to come wealthy there and the land's going to flourish. And then what are you going to do? Start doing bad things. You'll forget, deny God. Okay? So the problem of humanity, the greatest problem of humanity is its wealth. We start doing crazy things when we get comfortable. Right? We get all the money and then we just go nuts. We're just like nuts. What are you doing? Right? So that's what we do. And that's because we're satiated and we're comfortable. Okay. So anyway, just to prove in general that most of prayer is to actually recognize and value what I have. And then I can ask for things. Now I want to go into some of the messages that Reb Noach Weinberg, amazing book by the way, called What the Angel Never Told You. And he was the founder of Aish HaTorah. Aish Lit is part of Aish. And he founded the Aish building right by the Kotel. And he wrote a whole section on prayer. I want to take you through some of that section. It's actually really important how you will get your prayers answered. This stuff works. Okay? So I want to take you through some ideas. Before I even start, I'll tell you a story. So there's an example that's given of a caretaker who works in a synagogue, and he's about to close up, and he sees a young girl, 12-year-old girl, who's still in the building, and she's praying. Young girl praying, everyone's gone, and she's still in the corner praying. So the caretaker goes up to her, and he says to her, is everything okay? What are you praying for? So she says, everything's great. I'm praying because I want God to give me a bike. I have a birthday next week, and I really want a bicycle. And I really, really am praying that God will give me this bicycle for my birthday gift. So the guy says, okay, whatever. Eventually she finishes, she goes. 2 weeks later, she comes again to the synagogue, and again, the caretaker sees her, and he sees her. He comes running up to her. He says, hey, so did God answer your prayer? She said, yeah. Oh, so how was your birthday gift? So she says, well, I actually didn't get the bike. So he says to her, I thought you just said God answered your prayer. So she says, he did answer my prayer, but he said no. Okay? And here goes the message. We always think, oh, if I get what I asked for, he said, yes. If I don't get what I asked for, he doesn't exist. That's what we normally say. First stage of getting your prayers answered is actually recognizing that there's a no, and we have to know why there's a no. Okay? But the normal reaction that we have is, oh, he wasn't even listening. That's the wrong approach. If you want this stuff to work, you're going to have the right approach. So approach number one is, don't think he doesn't exist if he doesn't say yes. Only if he says yes, I don't have questions. Of course, you know what it's like? It's like the guy on top of the tower, and he's throwing down jewels and money. And at the bottom of the tower, everyone's running. Whoa, money, money. Everyone's running, picking up bags, picking up the money. Wow. All of a sudden, the guy at the top stops, starts throwing down heavy rocks. What happens? Everyone's looking up. Hey, where's it coming from? You know? When the money's coming down, no one cares, right? It's all, I want it for me, right? I don't care where it's coming from. Shh, no one should look. No one should see. I'll take the money. But when it's rocks, when it's not going my way, I'm like, where's God? Right? So when it doesn't go your way, you have to understand the first thing is there's a no. Now we have to know why there's a no. Stage one. Okay. Make sense? We have a statement in Ashrei, in one of the prayers, Karov Hashem lechol korav lechol asher kra'uhu be'emet. Translate. Israeli guy at the back.
We'll answer to, we'll call him for real, like truly.
Exactly. Hashem is close to all those that call you truthfully. So you have to truthfully be honest with the way you're asking. First stage is to know that if there's a no, maybe there's a no. Now we need to know why there's a no. Okay, that's the truth number one. I'm going to take you through 5 truths to get to answering your prayers. By the way, I forgot to mention, tefillah. What does tefillah mean? Translation. What are you doing? Some guy comes up to you. What are you doing? Oh, I'm doing a prayer. What's that in Hebrew? Tefillah. What does that mean? Lehit palel. To pray. What does that mean? What's the translation of the word lehit palel? I said to pray, but it's not the translation. Do you know what it means? Pilel in Hebrew means to judge. How do I know? There's a verse in the Torah. In Samuel, it says like this. If a man sins to another human being, so then the court will judge him. Ufilelo Elohim. The judges will judge him. Ve'im la'Hashem yecheta. But if you sin to God, ishmit palelo. There's no one who's going to judge him. Who's going to judge him? God. That's a scary thing. So there's a verse which says that palel means to judge. Lahit palel means to what? If pilel means to judge, what would lahit palel mean?
To judge.
What?
To judge.
To judge what? To judge oneself. You hear? That's the definition of prayer. Prayer, by definition, means lahit palel, which to judge myself. By me praying, I'm judging myself. Ooh, that's a whole new perspective. Okay, so I want to take you through the 5 different levels or the ways that you can truly see if your prayer works. Number 1 is, understand that God really wants to give you good. And you have to really understand it. I'm going to show you what I mean. If you, let's say, go to your father and you say to him or your mother, you say, Mom, Dad, I need to meet with you. Something I really need. And what is it? I'll give it you. No, I want, Mom, I want to sit with coffee. We need a time. When can I meet? Okay, we can meet tomorrow. A meeting. Serious thing. You want to ask for something serious. You sit with your dad, and what does your dad say? What do you want? What do you need? So what do you say? Dad, I have something really important to ask from you. I really want you to help me. Please, this one thing. What is it? Anything. Please, you're my son. Can you give me a nickel? How would a father react to such a thing? Child looks at his father, makes a meeting with him, and then says, can you give me just a nickel? Just a nickel. That's all you wanted? What's the father going to say?
Give me more.
I'll give you more. What else is he going to do? What? Would you go mad with him? Like,
maybe.
Is that what you think I can do? Is that what you need me for? Just a nickel? Do you know who I am? I'm your dad. I can give you way more than that. Please. It's an offense to the father. Were you asking me just for that? Come on. What's going on? What's wrong with you? So we have to know that in this world, sometimes we ask for nickels. You got to make sure you're not asking for a nickel. Okay? That is the very first thing, is you have to understand that Hashem has the capacity and desire to give you a lot, not just a nickel. Don't ask for nickels. So now we are going to prove that, okay? So don't beg in a way that shows Hashem is incapable. Always remember Hashem wants to and can give you. The question is, why doesn't he just give me? Hey, how you doing? Manishma. Hey. So the question is, why doesn't he give me? Hashem has the infinite capacity to give me everything. So why doesn't he give me whenever I ask him? You have to always, rule number one is to always recognize he's infinitely able to give me good. So why doesn't he give me the good? Many people ask and they don't get it. Why doesn't he give it? Well, not yet. I'm not going to go there yet. The first thing is, we have free will. Okay? Now, God cannot be us. Just like a parent can't be the child. I once had a parent call me. He's like, Rabbi, I have a son. I want him to be involved. I'm like, how old is your son? He's like, he's 28. You're calling for your son who's 28 to be involved with the Jewish community? Like, what's going on here? You know, obviously I didn't say that, but, you know, in my mind it's like, wow, I can't do that. I can't say, hey, your dad called me, you're 28 years old, and, you know, it's time to get involved with the Jewish community. It's pretty much time. So, like, I told him, like, how am I going to do this? He has to come on his own. You know, he's a big man. I can't be him. Do you want me to pick him up as well and bring him into the Jewish community? Hey, what do you think this is? Like a school? Right? This is a place where people choose to be. Right? Everyone chooses to be here, I hope. Right? So this is a place where you choose to be at 28. Right? I can't. Do you understand what I'm saying? So, at the end of the day, God can't be us. So when you make a prayer, come sit down. I want you guys to sit there. You can't stand like that. Here, there's a seat here, but that would be awkward. So you can sit over there. That would be less awkward. And there's a bunch of seats in there, but whatever you want. Oh, there's food too, drink. Please, feel good. That's amazing. So, right, first thing is, right, someone's on drugs or whatever it is, heroin. You can't go to the parents and like, hey, help him out. Your child's on heroin. Yeah, but he's 45 years old. You know? Like at a certain point, he's got to be his own man. I could try, I can give some money, but you know, he's got to make his own choices. I can't be him. Do you get it? You can't be him. So the very first thing is, if God would have wanted us to have all the good in the world, he wouldn't have created us, and he would have created us with all the good in the first place. He put us here for a reason. And the reason is so that we could choose between good over bad. We're in this world with free will as humans. Now that I'm in this world as humans, now we need to see why exactly he's not giving it to me. But he has the infinite ability to give. Okay? He just can't be me. Let me give you an example, okay? And this is the first thing is, you have to have in your mind that he has the infinite ability to give. Okay, so let me give you an example. This is all in this book. You are in a rush to get to your meeting. You woke up late, your first meeting for a new job. You get a great firm. You're a lawyer. You're going to get in. It's an amazing job, but you're now late. And you're in LA and there's a ton of traffic and you're going to be late. So you run in your car, you woke up late, you're going to that meeting, and you're like, the whole way. And you pray on the way, because that's when people start praying, when you're stuck. So you pray on the way, you're like, just please, green lights, Hashem. I know that you have the ability. You created the world, you created me, you created my mom, that's for sure, right? You created my dad, that's amazing. So you could definitely put some green lights out there and remove the traffic. I mean, you could easily do that as well, right? So you start praying. And it's possible that traffic frees up. That can happen. I mean, not so possible in LA, but it happens. I mean, it is. It actually is. Right? On Martin Luther King Day. And actually, not really. So anyway, but you know, traffic's going to free up. And the lights, please, I don't need every light to go red. Come on. You know when that happens? Like every light, red. And it's like, eventually it hits you. And you're like, no. So you know when those lights, please make it all go green for me. And you truly pray. Let's say this is a different story. Obviously there's other factors involved, but let's say the green lights come open, right? and you go through one, another green light, suddenly the traffic's going. What do you start saying to yourself? This is too good to be true. Right? This is too good to be true. Do you know what you're doing? You don't believe in the infinite goodness of Hashem. And that's the rule number one, is to think of the infinite goodness of Hashem. He really could do it. He's infinite. He created the world. Do you really think he can't make those lights be perfectly green for you? He can. You know what? He can. You know how? I could prove it. There's once a guy who came to me on campus and he says to me, Rabbi, you won't believe it. Today I met the guy that was in your house who now is giving me a job at the school. It's the exact job I wanted in sports. It's amazing. So I said, really? Where did you meet him? I said to me, well, I met him. He was just coming out of the sports sales area. There's a store which sells all the school sports stuff for millions of dollars. So that place where you get a shirt for $200 for like a shirt or something. So he goes, he was just walking out there and I was just walking in and I just needed a book at that time. I said, wow, that's an amazing thing, isn't it? It's amazing how you just happen to wake up at the perfect time, because you got to look at back right from the beginning. You went to bed on time. You woke up he said, actually, I woke up late. Perfect. So you woke up perfectly late to eventually get here and be perfectly in the right moment where you meet that person who you wanted to meet and they're not normally in this area. And finally, you managed to meet that person who's going to give you the job. This is amazing. Do you see the picture? Everything's so perfectly good, but we just don't see it. So here is the message. You know, if something's going good your way, don't say it's too good to be true, because God is infinitely able to be good. You're doubting the good. Okay, just a proof to give you the idea that the good is infinitely good and it can be there. Rule number one, don't ever lose the perspective that anything can happen. That good is infinite. Don't doubt the infinity of good. Number one, of God's good. Okay? That's number one. Number two, if you're not getting it, what should you do? Okay, maybe it's a no, but first thing you do is you say, I can't believe I'm not getting it. You're shocked. Okay, so rule number two is you should be shocked. If you sit with your dad and you make a meeting with your dad and you say, Dad, can you give me a nickel? And he says, no, get out of here, and he walks away, what would you do? You made a specific meeting with him. The next day you sat with him, you had a coffee date with him or your mum, and you sat there and he said, can you give me a nickel? Can you give me $1? Okay, let's say, not say a nickel because it's so crazy, right? Can you give me $1? And they said, no. Your parents won't give you $1? And they say no, and they walk off. They say, no, I'm not giving it you, right? Would you be shocked? You can't even give me $1 nickel, right? That shouldn't be a reproach, but you would be shocked. Like, what's going on? I really need this. Does that make sense? If you really need the thing that you're doing, that you want, and God is infinitely good, why on earth is he not giving it me? What a shock. So rule number two is you should be shocked. Okay, rule number three is listen to the message. There's a message. Hello. Right, so there's a message. So, for instance, there's the story of a guy who goes to college and he says goodbye to his family. He says, yeah, we'll keep in touch. And he tells the other one, we'll keep in touch. Right, that's how people do it in LA. We'll keep in touch. We'll keep in touch. See you around later. Right, so we'll keep in touch. And he's off to college on the other side of the state and of this other country. And he's in college. He's having a great time. Frat life gets too busy. Hazing period. Oh my gosh. So there's no way of being in touch with dad and mom. At the beginning, he sends a few messages, few emails, few things. But after a while, it kind of calms down and there's no communication. Right? Maybe nowadays, there's no excuse because you have a phone. But that's even worse. You have your phone and you're not answering. Like, why are you ghosting? Hello? Ghost. Right? So anyway, you're on the other side of the country and you're not communicating suddenly. So what does your dad do? He sends you a nice letter, a nice package with a bunch of nice goodies from your house. And he says, hey son, I really miss you. I hope college is doing really well. Not heard from you for a while. Please see inside the package a check of $1,000. Ooh, nice. Closes the package, doesn't put the $1,000 check in it. Sends it to his son. Right? And his son opens the package. Whoa! This is the letter. Please see $1,000 check. What the? Where's it? Where's the $1,000 check? Suddenly, within a week later, the father gets a nice big letter, and it says, "Hey, Dad, I got the amazing package. Thank you so much. Sorry I've not been in touch for a while, but I was just wondering, where's the $1,000 check? Did he put it in the box? Because I didn't see it there." You missed the message of your father. What was your father's message?
Keep in touch.
Keep in touch. He didn't say sorry, and he didn't keep in touch. All you said was, "Where's the $1,000?" Right? So the guy is missing the message. You get it? He's missing the message. There's another story with Reb Noach Weinberg, famous story. A guy comes into yeshiva, and he's like, "Rabbi, I like this stuff, but me and God, we're doing well. We're good." So he says, "What do you mean?" He says, "No, me and God, we're good." So he says, "Oh, come on, tell me what happened." He says, "I have the proof, the number of miracles that happened to me, and that God loves me. No question about it. I don't need to put tefillin, prayers, any of that. Forget it. Me and God, we're good." So he says, "Well, it's so good." So he says, "Well, I was on a bike, I was on a motorcycle, motorcycle, that's what I've been doing for many years, and I was on a highway, and for some reason there was something on the road, my bike slipped, I went under a truck, literally under a truck, and came out without a scratch. Nothing. We were both going full speed on the highway. I slid under his truck, the wheels didn't hit me, and I came out fine. Me and God are like this." So Reb Noach Weinberg says that's the most amazing miracle I've ever heard. But I have a question. If God really loves you, why did he make you fall in the first place? Again, you missed the message. Okay? So the rule number three is listen to the message. You're getting a no. What's the message? Don't be focused on how am I not getting what I want, or the pain of not getting what I want. There's actually a message here. Listen for the message. There's a message. Don't focus on the pain of not. By the way, if you focus on the pain of not getting what you want, what do you believe? That God's not able to give you the infinite good. So don't focus on the pain and focus on the message. There's a message here. There's something there. Don't miss the message. Okay, number 4. Now we're going to focus on you. No more God, focus on you. Okay, number 4 and 5 is about you. Till now we said first focus on what is the message and why am I not getting it and how Hashem really is good. Okay, those are the first 3 things. Number 4 and 5 is about you. And number 4 is focus on what you want. Okay, focus on what you really want. And this is an answer to what we were saying before. If my child says, "Hey, Daddy, we have that chocolate liqueur on Shabbat for l'chaims. Daddy, can I have some chocolate liqueur?" So what do I say? No, you're 3 years old, right? You can barely speak. So actually I said yes this week. I caved in a tiny bit. So my child says, "Hey, can I have some chocolate liqueur?" And I normally say, no. But please, will you give it? Right? What do I say? No, you're not having it. Okay. My child says, I just gave my child a gift, and he comes back to me and says, "Hey, can you give me another gift?" What do I say? No, I can't give you gifts all the time. You have to earn it. You can't just be getting it. Otherwise, you're going to be an entitled child. Bad parenting. Right? So here goes. Let's say eventually my child says, "Hey, can I have a pen?" Okay, pens, they make a mess. You check out our walls, right? But pens, they make a mess. So, I'll give it to him. You should see our table, by the way, the kitchen table. Abraham comes to me this week. He's like, "Daddy, look, I did it." I'm like, "Wow!" Scratched pen everywhere, all over the table. That's amazing. You drew that? That's awesome. Anyway, so Abraham's like scratching on it. He's so proud of it. It was amazing. So here goes the question. I give my child a pen, and he starts scratching with the pen on the wall, on the table. Is he using the pen for the right reason? What's he using it for? For his reason is it's a very expensive pen. It's made with gold. It has a slit on it. It's a perfect pen. So he's using it to scratch on the wall. I have to take it away. Why? Because he's not taking the pen and using it for the right use. Okay? So the first question we have to ask is my child using it for the right reason? just like a parent to a child, am I using it for the right reasons? Is the child using that pen for the right? If he's using it to smash people with it, he goes running to he does that. He goes running to his sister, hey, starts poking her with a pen. Immediately, that's not what it's made for, right? It's made to write with, and you can't write yet. So I let you color, but you can't color with a pen because that's going to make a mess. You're not able to use the ability of this pen. So you have to ask myself, if I was getting something that I really want, right? Am I going to use it in the right way? Okay, so here's a bunch of questions that we need to ask. Does it harm me? Am I going to use it in the right way if I do take it? Okay, when exactly do I need it? And what am I going to use it for? Is it good for me? Right? These are type of questions I need to ask. And that's what prayer is meant to do. Okay? It's meant to focus on what I really want. And by the way, human beings have an inner intuition, a deep, if you get to your core, and you can do this through prayer, you can really get to know and ask yourself, do I really, really want it? And if you do, good, great, keep praying. If you really want it, keep praying. And by the way, when you really want, some people say, I'm dating, I'm not sure. I'm in and out of my dates right now. I'm not sure. I'm still in school or whatever. I'm like, but you don't really want it. If you really want it, if you really, really want it seriously, so that's a different story, but you don't really want it seriously. It's a different story. You see, when you really want it, that's when things start to happen, right? Because you're praying. So you have to focus and ask yourself, do I really want this? Is this really going to be used for the right way? If you have come to a conclusion that it is, then go for it. You see, I'll give you an example. We used to live, I've almost finished. We used to live in a house which was tiny in Israel. Me and Shira, we lived when we just got married. I was studying in Torah, not much money there. And I was studying Torah, so we had to survive with a very minimal amount. And I lived in a very small place. Today, I wish that my walls are bigger, right? You can see what's going on here. I wish my walls are bigger, but I don't need it for me. I don't need it. I can manage with a small back then. I mean, I probably couldn't, but I can manage with something smaller than, I don't need something bigger. I need to see why I need it. Today, me and Shira are dreaming. We're looking for a house now. By the way, anyone who's watching, we're looking for a house. But really, we are going around looking for a house. And when we walk in, they're like, this couple's insane. Like, okay, this wall we can't knock down. If we can't knock this wall down, it's not worth it. Because how many people can we fit in this house? How many tables? We walked into a house and we were like, okay, we could put a table here. We could put a table there, another table there, another table here, another table. That's not enough for Shabbat. We need 70 people on a Shabbat. We have to have a bigger Shabbat table. So the guy who's like selling the house is looking at us. He's like, what is it? They're not even gone into the bedroom. They're just looking at the tables and how many tables they can fit on. And I'm loving it. So basically, to sell myself a bit here, no, I'm joking. But really, the idea here is, what do you need it for? If the cause that you're asking it for is really, really, you deeply know you need it, then your prayer will work. But you have to really ask yourself, is this something I really need? And that is the reflection of the prayer. Do I really want this? Okay? And the very last thing is, and here's the very last thing, prayer is great, but it's not an escape from responsibility. You know the famous joke that everyone says about there's a flood and there's a little island and there's a flood in the house and everyone's getting flooded and the guy goes to the roof and he's like, Hashem, please help. I have trust in God. I have trust in God. I have trust in God. This flood keeps coming. The water's everywhere. There's all of a sudden a rescue boat comes flying in. Hey, what are you doing on top of the roof? Come on, get on the boat. He's like, no, I'm fine. I trust in God. Okay, fine, whatever, you weirdo. They keep going. Then there's a helicopter, right? He's almost drowning. The helicopter's coming. Hey, there's a person there on top of the roof. Let's go down and save him. He's like, no, I don't need a helicopter. Don't need your helicopters. I trust in God. So that goes away. He starts almost drowning. Someone else comes. Finally, there's like this boat. He's drowning. I don't need you. Go away. I trust in God. And eventually he dies and he drowns and he goes up there and he's like, God, where were you? He's like, you crazy? I came to you like 5 times. I came to you in a helicopter. I came to you in a boat. I came to you with that other boat. Are you crazy? Why didn't you take it? I was there. So here goes the very first the fifth point is, and this is the fifth for a reason, because after you've done all the things that you've done, you have to question yourself and ask, am I putting in the right effort? Okay? Because prayer is great, but it's not an escape from responsibility. God helps those that help themselves. You heard that statement before? He'll help. You can't sit on the couch, right? Sit there. Hey, honey, bring the food. Honey, right? Is that good for a relationship? What's eventually going to happen in that relationship? How quick? Will there be a divorce or will there be a divorce? There'll be a divorce, right? So you can't be in a relationship, say, just sit on the couch, lazing around and saying, give me everything. That's not going to work. You've got to put your effort as well, right? How do I know in Judaism you have to put effort? How do I know that standing on top of the roof is wrong? How do I know that you have to put your effort? Do you know why? The Torah actually tells me. It's a verse in Deuteronomy, chapter 14. It says, God will bless you. God will bless you with all the work that you do with your hands. So you have to work, and the blessing will come through the effort. But let me tell you something. If somebody thinks that if I don't sleep for 24 hours because I'm working too much, and I don't even have time to eat because I'm working too much, and I don't have time to even drink because I'm working too much on my project, then I tell you that that person is putting in too much effort and is not believing at all in God. And that happens a lot, okay? Too much effort's also not good. So too much effort means, what's your norm? Do you need to sleep 8 hours? If you're not sleeping less than 8 hours because you're making effort to make money, then you're putting in too much effort. That's a lack of faith as well, okay? So the fifth thing that you need to do is always question, am I even putting any effort? Look, if an investor comes to you and says, hey, I want to invest in your company, right? You have a great app. I want to invest in it. But can you show me? What's the first thing he's going to ask, right? I heard that you've got an app. What's the first thing the investor's he's going to put in $1 million. What's the first thing he's going to ask?
Revenue.
What's the revenue? Go on, show me. Show me the app. Like, what have you done so far? If you're like, oh, it's just an idea, right? I have this app. Have you made anything yet? No, I've not made anything yet. Have you spoken about it to anyone yet? No, I've not spoken. It's just an idea in my head. You will not get an investor like that. You've got to first do your effort and then eventually slowly get investors. But you can't have an investor on no effort. Make sense? That would be insane for the investor's part. Right? I need to see that you've actually done some effort. You've made connections. You've actually seen something going. Money makes money because I know that it's invested and people are working and it's happening. So then it's going to get more because it's what. So the very first thing is you have to show that you're putting in the effort. And that is a very important part. I put it as last. Why is action, and with this I'll finish, why is it important to have action as well? Why is it important to have effort from a logical stance?
Not to be ashamed.
What?
Not to be ashamed.
Why would you not be ashamed if you have effort? So we want something from Hashem, but you don't put any effort. Okay, so you're saying because I will be ashamed if I don't act on my free will and I just get things without. Yeah, that's true. But before I do it,
Other people think you don't deserve it.
people don't think I deserve it. What else?
Not
Spoiled.
appreciated.
You're not
I'm
getting
spoiled. I'm not appreciative. So the number one key is appreciation. What about clarity? When I work for something, I get clarity if I really need it or not. You see, when I invest my time into something, I see if it's worth it. Is it really worth it? Sometimes you think it's amazing for you because you didn't even invest your time into it to see how difficult this thing is anyway, and it's just stupid and a waste of time anyway. How many times do we actually see through the action that it's not for me? Much more than through the idea. Make sense? So here goes a summary of what we said. There's 5 true steps to making your prayers answered. Okay, we can't guarantee that your prayers will always be answered, but these things will definitely help. Number 1 is recognize there might be a no. Before we even start, you have to know there might be a no. Okay? There's not just a yes, there's also a no. Okay, and now we have to know why there's a no. So first is you have to believe and understand that good can always come your way. There's an infinite amount of good ready to come your way. This infinity has an infinite ability to give you good. Number 1. Number 2, if you're not getting that good, and it's such a small thing for God, Anything. Is $1 billion a nickel for God? He's infinite. Anything you want is a nickel for God. You want the best spouse possible in the world? That's a nickel for God. You want the most beautiful husband? That's a nickel for God. You want the most beautiful wife? That's a nickel. It's nothing for Hashem. Nothing. Everything's infinitely easy for him. So if it's not coming your way, you need to ask yourself, why are you not giving me that nickel? That's just a tiny coin. That's what it is for you. Anything is possible for you. You created me. Why are you not giving it to me? That's question one. Question number two is be shocked if it's not coming your way. Number three is, what is the message? Okay, it's not coming my way. Listen for the message. Maybe I'm not doing enough. Maybe there's a message. Okay, that's number three. Maybe I'm living in the wrong place. There's a message. Number four, maybe I'm hanging out with the wrong people. Okay, so number four is focus on what you really want. Deep down, we all have a sense of what's really good. You have to be honest, true. That's what we said. Hashem is close to all those that are true. You have to be true with yourself and ask, what is it that I really, really want? Do I really want this? And finally, am I putting enough effort into making this happen? Do I put my effort? Because if I'm not putting my effort and I'm just sitting on the couch, no relationship is going to give it to me and no creator is going to give it to me. You know what? He didn't have to create me to give me good. He did because I have free will, and free will is in this world and I have to earn it. That's how free will works. So that really is the summary of prayer. And I wish that everyone, this is my prayer to you, to everyone that's here, that all of your prayers are answered, that you should be blessed in all ways. You should be grateful and praised and thankful and happy and loved and find the love and find goodness, have beautiful children eventually one day. If not now, okay, fine, now, right? Stay married forever. All your prayers should be answered. You should just feel love, 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 love. And you should be close to understanding what the Creator really means. And I just wish you all the best. Thank you.